Tonight we have Johnna. How many people were at conference and got to see Johnna up on stage? Let's see a show of hands. How many people saw her? I did. I saw her. Awesome. Single mom, single mother of four, did over $900,000 for the year. I mean, that's very, very impressive. So, our agency, Frank and I were talking a little bit earlier about what we've been doing. We're absolutely killing it with IULs. And we got a lot of people that are coming in because of what we're doing with IUL business. But, the company started with mortgage protection. A lot of people think mortgage protection is dead. Obviously, it's not if you watch what Dean is doing every single day with mortgage protection. So we like to bring in all types of training. We talk a lot about the IUL business because we're absolutely killing it. We got an amazing lead source with IULs. Our CRM is better than any other CRM out there. And I think that's what also is allowing us to grow so fast. But we also want to bring other products that are available and bring training from other people that can share something other than what we're doing. So it's exciting to hear what she's doing, especially thinking a lot of people saying that the mortgage protection business is gone. It's not. These call-ins are absolutely amazing. There's a lot of people that are crushing this business as well. So we're going to bring Johnna on. She's going to talk about what she's been doing, how she was able to write just under $1 million last year, being a single mom of four. I think it's exciting to hear from people like this, and she was definitely inspirational up on stage. So Frank, you being the mortgage guy of the entire agency, what do you think of someone doing $900,000 in mortgage protection?
I think it's absolutely amazing. And obviously it means she's got enough lead flow. Probably doing it virtually if I had to guess. I don't know 100%. I'm sure we're going to find out tonight, but it's very doable for sure. Mortgage, once you understand what mortgage protection can do for families, it's probably one of the easiest sales you can make, bar none. And so I'm excited to hear what Johnna's got to say and how she did exactly what she did. And obviously, if one can do it, many can do it.
Awesome. John, are you there?
Yes. Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me.
Well, we're
Thanks for
happy
being
to
here.
have you on. Yeah. Welcome. Well, if you can just kind of introduce yourself, where you came from, how long you've been at FFL, and what you're doing currently. Kind of take us what has got you up to this point and how you're doing what you're doing. We appreciate it.
Sure. So I started in the insurance industry about 5 years ago now. And I started at a practice company, and I came over to FFL when I learned about the high comp opportunity and being a free agent and all that. So I came over here, and my first couple of years were not super successful. I was basically living commission to commission. I just believed in the opportunity and I believed in myself. So I just stuck with it and I, kept trucking along. I always liked the appointments I had where I got to interact with people. I'm a people person. So, that was, it just made me feel like something that I was good at and that I could actually do and find success with. So I just always, stuck with it. And it was a journey. Like I started in a different agency when I came over to FFL, and then I left. I went to a different IMO, and then I came back and, I got with another agency where I felt like I would have the support and mentorship I needed to flourish. And sorry, it's my children fighting. And so, yeah, so things kind of took off for me. I was having my fourth kid like in August of 2022, and I was still in the field up until when I was about like 8 months pregnant, and I was basically just like procrastinating, switching to virtual, but it came to a point where I didn't really have a choice. So I switched to 100% virtual, and the first week being virtual, I helped 10 families that week. And I was like, okay, I don't know what I was so scared about. I just set up the system that I needed, with the Calendly automations and, getting enough leads. And I got a dialer and I did a couple things to kind of set that up for myself. And then I had the baby in August, and in September I had like my first like truly like large month. Like I did like 60 families that month, September. And then from there, I was just like, okay, well, let me scale this a little bit more. Cause at that point I was like, all right, I want to hit Hall of Fame now. Like, but it was, you know, September, October, and it was like, I had a long way to go to get to Hall of Fame, a couple 100,000 or something. Um, so I decided to invest in more leads. I got a second dialer. I got a nanny. Like I basically just took all the money that I had and just like threw it at all the places I needed to set myself up to do more volume. And then the next month after that, when I did that, I did over, you know, like 100 families that month. So that's basically my journey. How that
So
went. And I did
basically,
hit Hall of Fame that year.
Johnna, so basically you spent more money and you made more money. Is that right?
That's what happened.
Increased your lead flow, got a nanny, and then everything began to change,
Mm-hmm.
right? Jamie, how many times have you talked to people and you talk about get a nanny and do the same thing, right?
I mean, sometimes they have to hear from somebody else. Thank you,
Yeah.
Johnna.
Yeah. Women are very wise. Listen to Jamie.
Yeah.
Were you uncomfortable doing that?
Extremely. Yeah, I was extremely uncomfortable doing that. But yeah, I had a friend that kind of like knew the math, and he was basically telling me like, well, as long as you actually show up and run these appointments based off of like, you know, you close this much, so we obviously know that you're can close. Like if you just show up and run the appointments, the numbers are going to just come out. And I'm like, and I think that really like made me come to the realization that this really is just a numbers game. And I mean, obviously you can't be like a complete buffoon and not know how to do your job. Like you got to know how to close, but like, you know, it's, if you can help people, and you know what you're doing and you understand what you're doing, you know, you just stack the deck in your favor and run the numbers and you'll write more insurance.
Well, and you'll get better as you, I mean, you
And you
can
do, yes, you get a
help
lot
but get
better.
better, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, you're probably 10 times better today than you were a year and a half ago, just because of the pure amount of reps you've had and swings
100%.
at the plate, correct? Okay, cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love it. Keep going.
Yeah. Now I'm just like on autopilot on my appointments, you know, because I know my presentation in and out. Like I know rebuttals, you know, I know all the objections that I'm going to get and how to handle them. I mean, some days are worse than others because it just kind of, you know, sometimes I'm like in a flow state, I'm like in the zone, and other days I'm just like, I'd rather be doing something else today. But, but yeah, I mean, overall, it's like, I just, you know, posture is everything. And, you know, I think watching other top producers, like elite level producers, run on Zoom and like seeing what their posture was, and you know, just when you position yourself as the you know, the expert, and not and like decide and like not take crap from people either. Like if you are just kind of that way with people, and you can, but you also show them that you care about them and you're truly there to help them out, and you're establishing a connection with them. You know, those are all really important things to be aware of when you're running your presentations, to kind of have that professional, like no BS posture, but also connect on an emotional level with your people.
Johnna, can you go through, I mean, and I haven't sold mortgage protection in 4 years. So, I mean, I always said there's 5 ways to do it, but I want to hear your presentation, because you may go, there's 3. Can you go to start, like, could you role play with either myself, Jamie, or Mike?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. The one thing that everybody says about my presentation is that it's very to the point, and a lot of people like that. So I guess you guys will see that now, but I run my appointments every 45 minutes. I run a lot of appointments in a day, so I've streamlined my presentation to kind of be like boom, boom, boom.
Okay.
But yeah, let's go for it. So we're doing a Zoom with a single person or a married couple?
What's hard?
Do both.
What-
Let's do both.
Yeah, well, and which one's harder?
Well, I think with a married couple, you have a little more like leverage to get them to move.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I was going to say I believe single people are harder to cover,
Yeah.
especially if they have no kids. But yeah, we can do both. But let's start with the single.
Okay.
Mike, you do the single, and then Jamie and I will do the double.
Got it. Let's do it.
Okay. All right. Hi, Mike.
Hello.
Hi, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Good. Okay, well, my name is Johnna Komara. I'm the underwriter that was assigned to go over the mortgage protection with you. I have your information here. I just wanted to verify a couple of details. So it looks like you have a new mortgage for 400,000 with Chase Bank. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, perfect. And it's just you in the home, right?
correct.
All right, great. So I'm going to explain to you a little bit about what I do and what the process is with the mortgage protection. So as a state licensed underwriter, I work with all of the A-rated insurance carriers in the state of Maryland that offer the mortgage protection plans. And it's my job to be like the eyes and ears for the insurance carriers. They don't require any medical exams or blood draws or anything like that. They just have me talk to you to verify your eligibility and to go over your options with you. So I'm just going to ask you some questions to see if you need mortgage protection, what type of mortgage protection is going to make sense for you, what you're actually going to qualify for. And then I can put together some reasonable options. If we find something that does make sense, the only thing we can do today, Michael, is put an application to see if we can get you approved. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, great. So let me start with this. Do you know what mortgage protection is?
No.
Okay, so mortgage protection is a type of insurance that people take out for the purpose of covering the mortgage. God forbid something were to happen to them. So if you were to pass away or become ill, that your mortgage would be covered financially, either for you or for your beneficiaries. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And who would your beneficiary be if something were to happen to you?
It would be my brother.
Your brother. Okay. And would you say it would be important that if something happened to you to be able to leave this home as an asset to your brother so it could stay in your family?
Yes. It's
Okay, great. And what about illness protection? Is that something that's important to you as well? If, 10 years from down the line, you got sick, that you would have some kind of financial resource available to you?
Yeah, I saw that on there. That's important too.
Okay. All right, great. Well, based off of that, it sounds like you'd be a good candidate for mortgage protection. Let me get a little bit more information.
John, I got a question. What do you do, like, if that person, that first question, I said, no, it's not important, or no, the illness protection isn't important. Where do you go from that point? Are you just done with the call, or you try to sell them at that point?
So I say, if they say no, it's not important to have the house paid off. I basically, okay, so just role play it.
Okay. No, that's not important. I just got this in the mail, so I thought I'd call the number.
Okay. And then, so why did you set the appointment?
I didn't know what it was. I just wanted to hear what it was.
Oh, you want to hear what it was? Okay. Well, that makes sense. Well, I mean, if it's not important to you, I mean, I'm not here to try to tell you it's important if it's really not important, but I guess my question is like, do you really understand the value of, you have a home that's a major asset. Like if you can leave this, we never know what can happen tomorrow. If you could leave this asset in your family, it would create more generational wealth for your family, things like that. I just want to make sure you have like a full understanding of like the kind of impact it could have from the generations from you, down the line. And also, if I don't know what to tell you about the illness protection, I mean, do you have a plan if in 10 years you were to get a heart attack or cancer or something like that?
Very good.
I just try to build value or like kind of connect and like get their brain to like say, okay, well, maybe that is important. But then sometimes if they're like, it's not important, I'm like, okay, well, I guess this isn't something you need. So I'll just close out your file. Next.
I love it. Yes, absolutely. So many people get hung up on those little objections and they think there's a way to sell them. I'm like, if they don't want it, you're not going to do it. Just move on to the next one and forget about it. I love that. That's from someone who did almost $1 million, and people think that they're going to overcome every objection, and they're not going to. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and when you only have, 3 or 5 appointments a day, you're going to feel really desperate to try to sell people who don't want to get sold. Absolutely. And that's where the power is like, for me, I have 15 appointments every day. So, I just run the numbers. Like if somebody's not interested or they're just wasting my time, I get off the phone ASAP. I need to save my energy for the people who, want to be helped.
All right, let's pick up the rest of it. So I say, yes, I'm interested. Yes, the critical illness is important to me. Then where do we go?
Okay. All right. So let me get a little bit of information about you, Michael. What do you do for work?
I am a insurance broker.
Okay. Well, we're in the same field then. And what kind of insurance do you deal with?
I work at a gas station. Let's go.
Oh, a gas station. Okay. All right. Well, sounds good. And then what is your monthly net income doing that?
Like 10,000.
10,000 net, like after the taxes and everything?
Yeah.
Okay. That's pretty good for a gas station worker. I say stuff like that too. I like to laugh with my peoples.
You have to make them feel comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. So he said he owns the station. Okay, that makes more sense, Jesse. I was like, okay, okay, so good. So we have, we have a little bit of money to work with, I'm assuming, to get you some insurance. Does that sound accurate?
Yes, it does.
Okay. And do you have any like life insurance right now?
I don't have any at all.
Okay. Got it. And do you have any like investments like 401ks or
I have a 401k.
annuities? Okay. Sounds good. And then let me get a little bit of information from you to see what you qualify for. What is your date of birth, Michael?
February 8th, 72.
Okay. Height and weight, health issues.
None. No
None,
medicine.
right.
nothing.
So you're perfectly healthy, non-smoker. That sounds great. Looks like, we could definitely most likely get you qualified for the living benefits. So I'm gonna go ahead and run the options. So you said your brother would be your beneficiary. Does he live local to you?
He lives out of state.
Oh, he lives out of state. Okay. And all right. Well, that's cool. And sometimes, and I'll just ask more questions like, oh, what would he do with the house? Or do you think he would keep it? I mean, with equity protection, I asked more of the question of like, do you think they would keep or sell the house? I don't really focus on that for if I'm writing a term policy to have it pay off.
And who's your go-to carrier? You have one?
America.
America.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing CBO or just straight term?
I offer both. It just depends. It depends if CBO is not like it depends on what they can afford, like if I see their budget's really tight, I'm not gonna like show them a $300 CBO.
Okay.
What
if you have a single person, not married, and they have health challenges, and you need to go whole life? How do you flip over to that? How do you pivot to whole life?
Well, I find out who their beneficiary is, and I just kind of like establish the importance, of the beneficiary having enough money, to have like a cushion to be able to cover the payments for like a year or X amount of time. So I'm just like, okay, so if you were a younger single person who had health issues, my kids are being so loud. And I found out that you can qualify for term, I would say, okay, so who's your beneficiary? Who's the person's beneficiary?
Let's say spouse. If it's spouse, that's easy.
Oh, a spouse.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's easy, but it could be like a son or whoever. Just be like, okay, well, would it be important? Do you think it's important to have some kind of financial protection in place for your spouse, that if you were to die, that they would be able to cover those mortgage payments so they don't have to take on that expense on top of their own living expenses while they're trying to get the house sold? So that's basically how I angle it. I'm like, okay, are they going to be able to afford to take on this extra $2,000 a month on top of, all the other stuff that they're paying? Or like, if you have a spouse and you're the breadwinner, okay, like obviously your wife is not going to be able to afford this mortgage for more than a couple months here. So, do you think it's important to have some financial protection? And, I just kind of get them to acknowledge that that's a need before I'll show them options.
Awesome. A lot of people are looking. I think there might have been expecting something more out of your pitch. Right? Everyone probably thought there was some magic there, but
It's very simple.
it sounds like it. All right. Well, let's do a couple. Let's do Frank and Jamie.
Okay.
Real quick before we start, are these all Zoom or telesales, or it doesn't matter?
I do both. I do
Okay.
Zoom or telesales depending on what they're comfortable with.
Okay.
I have a question.
We're ready.
Out of 15 appointments in a day, how many no-show you?
It's about 50%.
Got it. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, that's why you need a lot of appointments, especially on virtual, because
No doubt.
What time do you start? What time do you end in the day? What's your schedule?
I start, well, last year when I did the numbers that I did, I was working like 8 a.m. until 9 p.m. every night, either 5 or 6 days a week. I would kind of alternate. But I've cut back because I just need to for my kids and my life. But
No doubt.
yeah, so I'm doing like 9:45 a.m. until about 7:30 or so, 7 p.m.
Can you hit 900 on that schedule?
I can if I focus probably more on doing some bigger IULs. I'm good at selling IULs. I I don't have IUL leads right now. I do write them like for mortgage protection when I see that it makes sense for the person to get an
Yeah.
IUL or if they ask for that specifically. So I probably write a couple a month, but yeah, if I focus more on IULs, I think I can.
Do you ask the annuity question?
Not very much.
I'd be able to hit it then.
Okay. Well, if
I
you
want
started
to.
at,
Jesse
it
Hamlet
won't-
keeps telling me, "What are you doing? You got to ask the question."
well, if you wrote 900,000 in premium or over that, you would have probably issued anywhere from 3 to 5 million in annuity volume,
Yeah.
which would have given you another 2, 3, 400,000 in issue paid premium towards your number. So, and it's a pretty good commission payment. Annuities pay really well too. So that's fine though. All right, let's
Yeah,
do
you
this.
do.
Let's do the couple role play real quick so that we can keep moving.
Okay. All right. Hi, Frank and Jamie. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. My name is Johnna Komara. I'm the underwriter that was assigned to go over the mortgage protection with you guys. So I just wanted to verify a couple details here. So you guys have a new mortgage for $400,000 with, First National Bank and on a 30-year term. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, awesome. So I'm gonna explain a little bit about who I am and what I do. So as a state licensed underwriter, I work with all of the A-rated insurance carriers in the state of Texas that offer the mortgage protection plans. And it's my job to be the eyes and ears for the insurance carriers. So they don't require any medical exams or blood draws or anything like that. They just have me talk to you to verify your eligibility and go over your options with you. So I just need to ask you some questions to see what you qualify for, what's going to ultimately make sense for you guys. And then I can put together some options. If we find something that makes sense, all we can do today is put in an application to see if we can get you approved. Okay.
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 All righty. So do you guys know what mortgage protection is? Same thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Tell me what you think it is.
If something happens to me, the loan is taken care of for my wife, I guess, or kids.
Yeah, exactly. If you were to pass away, that the mortgage would hopefully be paid off if you qualify for full payoff options. Or at least, leave them some kind of financial protection to make sure that they wouldn't have a financial burden in that scenario. And they also, if you qualify, include some living benefits, illness protection, things like that. So we'll get into that a little deeper to figure out exactly what you qualify for, and obviously what's going to be the most suitable thing for you.
Okay.
Yeah, but do you guys think that would be important to have some kind of protection for your family for this?
For sure.
Okay, awesome. So then I just go through the same questions. I find out what each of their incomes are, help. Hold on a second.
You're good. Do your thing. It's great.
Come on, you're so cute. I just can't.
This is honestly, it probably helps her make more sales.
This
Listen,
actually
every-
happened.
There we go.
A real person with real kids.
That's right.
Everybody
Johnna,
always
every
used to make
time-
fun of me because like they were like, John is breastfeeding on Zoom and closing 20K. What are you guys doing?
Every single time I ever took my kids to an appointment, everybody I sat with, I would close. I mean,
Yeah,
it
me
was
too.
literally 100%.
Me too, actually.
Yep. And so it's like, people want to know that we're speaking to somebody real. And if this happened during our appointment, Jamie would buy from you just because you had a beautiful baby sitting on your lap. So, I mean, it's a wrap. I would do that daily.
Right.
Okay. So go ahead. Sorry.
That's fine. Yep. So then we go over the health details and then, I find the options. But before that, I get in a conversation with them. So I'll be like, so, say we find out, Frank, you make 10,000 and Jamie makes 2,000. Okay. So I would just kind of like reiterate, okay, well, it looks like, based off of what your mortgage is, Frank, if something were to happen to you, I mean, Jamie, do you think you'd be able to afford this house? And then she'd be like, no, and so I just kind of like build up the need like that, just kind of like, again, get them to acknowledge where the need is based off of like what I'm seeing about their situation. And then, same thing, I go over options based off of like, I typically, try to show them options between 3 and 5% of what their net income is. And I say, So I'll show them the options and then they'll be looking. So let's say we're looking at options right now. One is, you know, $200 a month CBO and the other one's $100 HMS. Okay, for each of you. All right, so we're looking at them. And this is how I explain the coverage. So I say, okay, so I'm gonna go over the details of what this coverage will actually do for you. So if you were to pass away or become terminally ill, it's gonna pay out the amount of money tax-free to your spouse so that they can go pay off the mortgage. Okay, if you get diagnosed with a critical illness or a chronic illness, is also going to be a financial resource for you. So if you were to get diagnosed with like a cancer, heart attack, stroke, kidney disease, ALS, major organ failure, or any kind of chronic condition where you require the assistance of another person to perform 2 out of the 6 activities of daily living, like eating, bathing, dressing, toileting, transferring continence without substantial assistance of another person, then, or with substantial, then you can file a claim and they'll advance you up to 100% of the face amount of the policy, depending on the severity of the condition. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So that's how that works. I'm going to show you a couple options now. So you can go with the cash back option. You do have the option to get all the money back at the end of the plan. So for each of you, say you're the same age, it'll be $200 a month for the cash back option. And then at the end of the 3rd year, you'll each get back $72,000 tax-free in a lump sum. Okay. So it's just a good way to save some money and have the mortgage protected and give yourselves that illness protection as well to get you through to retirement.
So it was $200 a piece?
Yes.
So if I wanted to do maybe the cash back on myself and then just regular on my wife, could I do that?
Sure. Yeah, you can do whatever works for you. These numbers, we can adjust them. It's all about, making it work for you. So yeah, and then for the non-cash back, this one you don't get the benefit of getting the money back, but it's cheaper upfront. So it's $100 a month as opposed to the 200.
Okay.
Yep. So which of those options do you think would be the most suitable and affordable for you guys?
Jamie, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I don't need the cash, but I think I like it for you.
Okay, so cash back for me and no cash back for you, but you need the coverage too, because definitely gonna be a problem.
Yeah, we need mom to be protected too. We can't undermine the value of the housewife, right? I'm sure she does a lot to keep the ship afloat and sailing.
Absolutely.
Right.
See, I love
You want to do
like
the cash back on you and then the non-cash back on Jamie?
For sure. And do you do that too? Like mom, do you call her mom? Like, I love that. I think it's so personable and it just hits home. It's I don't know. You can't teach that stuff. I love that. It's phenomenal. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I also like the way that she was just like, yeah, sure. Like it's no big deal if you do or don't. It's very casual, but in control. The other thing was that she waited quietly for the answer. A lot of times I think people try to talk for the person. She was just quiet and let us figure it out. And it's kind of like an awkward silence, but you know what I'm talking about, Frank.
Yeah, there's something about, when you speak having like resonance and when you are making points, like being able to communicate the value of what you're offering and the points and letting the resonance do the talking by you being quiet, saying things that are impactful and just letting it resonate with them so that they come to the realization within inside of themselves that this is something that they need.
Yeah. They're so good. And it's so simple. It literally, so if we go through this whole process, Johnna, from start to finish, was it 35 minutes, 40 minutes?
Yeah.
You have your script written out?
What we just went through typically only takes honestly 15 minutes or so.
Yeah,
but
most
start
of the
to
time
finish with the application, 30 to 45. 30 minutes for a single person, 45 minutes for a couple, unless we run into not being approved and need to pivot, things like that. Yeah.
Do you have your script written out?
I actually don't know. I might have done it at one point, but I'm not sure at the moment if I do, but I've been meaning to write it out, and I can write it out.
We
not-
can hook you up with some IUL leads if you can hook us up with that script.
I would
We
love
we have
to
a
do
good
that.
source.
Thank you for the trade. I like that. Yeah, let's do it.
John,
Perfect.
before you started putting up the big numbers, how many leads were you buying a week then, before things started taking off?
So we dropped mail, right? So I was initially, when I was basically dialing for myself and I got my first dialer, no, when I was dialing for myself, I was dropping like 3,000 mailers, and that came out
A
to,
week, right?
yeah. So that came out to like, I don't know, around $2,500 or something like that a week. And then when I,
And that was on the light end, Frank, 2,500 a week. That was easy.
yeah. And then when I got my dialer and I was like, okay, I need to invest in more leads because I have my dialer now. And with dialers, they burn leads more. So they need more leads. Yeah. So when you get a dialer, you're not just paying for a dialer, you're also paying for more leads. So don't get one until you can afford one. But yeah, so then I did 5,000 mailers, and then I upped my investment to probably around like 4,300 a week. And then when I like really went all in and I got 2 dialers, I think I was dropping like 8,000. And I was probably paying about like, well, the mailers that I was getting initially were pretty expensive. So I was paying like 7,000 a week until I realized there were cheaper options out there.
Right.
But yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. I was probably paying 7,000 a week to write 100K a month.
There you go.
Good stuff.
That's the magic right there. So 2,500 a week. How many people on here don't spend at least 2,500 a week? That's step one.
90%,
Right,
Mike.
that's right there though. Step one's 2,500 a week. And then it went to 47 and then to 7. Now she was overpaying for her mailers, and we can definitely get them cheaper. And we've had some calls this week to be able to do that, or last week to be able to do that. But that's exciting to realize. I think everyone was looking for magic. That's the magic. And we always have said it.
Yeah, nobody. Yep, absolutely. Hey, Johnna, what's your persistency? Do you do anything after the app closes? Do you follow up? Like tell them, just shoot them a call or a text when they get their policy? How does that work? Because I know that's a big part of keeping a good book of business.
So the way that I connect with my clients throughout the appointment, I feel like really helps. Oh, where did I go? I feel like it really helps my persistency, just because they feel connected to me. And I also say things like I lock my appointments down really well. So after I write the policy, and they get approved, I say, okay, well, congratulations, Mike. You've been approved. So that means you're protected right away. So congratulations on protecting your family. You're going to get your policy in the mail in about 7 to 10 business days. It looks like this. Okay. So it's not invisible, I promise. Okay, so it looks like this. So you are going to have 30 days to read through this and make sure you're happy with everything. Ask any questions you need to. If you need to make any adjustments or changes to it, you can do that within the first 30 days without having to reapply. So just make sure you read through that thoroughly. Make sure you keep it in a safe place that your beneficiaries know about. A couple other things I want to let you know before I let you go here. Whenever you purchase a new house, you're going to get a lot of mail. If you get more letters talking about mortgage protection, you can disregard them, throw them away. You don't need to respond to them. If you do, your information is just going to keep getting resold in the system, and people are just going to call you and harass you and drive you crazy. So don't do that to yourself. If anybody else does get a hold of you about mortgage protection, just let them know you got taken care of. Sometimes they will try to say things to confuse you, like your file was flagged for review, or the underwriter made a mistake and they have to come fix it, or they have to look at your policy, like that. Just let them know you got taken care of. They're just trying to sell you something. You're actually in the best program possible for mortgage protection because you're with the company that specializes in it, because you have the 100% for death, terminal, critical illness, chronic illness, and 100% cash back. So you've got the very best thing for mortgage protection. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. And I'm going to give you my phone number now. Lock it in your phone right now. And if you have any questions or concerns at all, you can call me or text me at any time. This is my direct line. So feel free to reach out whenever you need to. Okay.
Sweet.
All right. Awesome. And so, Mike, were you happy with my service today?
Very
All right.
great
Well,
service.
I'm glad. Huh?
Great service.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Well, I'm glad I was able to help your family out with getting, some good valuable protection. And like I said, if you need anything, I'm just a phone call away. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, God bless. Take care and have a good night.
Thank you. That's
What do you-
that's a $1
that's-
million script right there.
And yeah, your persistency is probably pretty good with that.
It's like, well, that's what I spoke on convention was quality. I was on the quality business panel because I have good persistency. My persistency rate is between like 85 to 87% with America. Yes, so.
Just so y'all understand, guys, industry standard average, 65 to 70%. 70% is being very generous. So to have an 80, above an 80% to 85% persistency is absolutely stunning. So great job, Johnna. This is really good stuff. You bring a lot of value to FFL. Thank you for sharing.
John, I have a question for you too. I know you didn't start out right at that 20, like when you got here, what was your weekly lead spend? Because I think sometimes people hear 2,500, they think if I don't have that, I can't do it. What did you start with when you first got here?
When I first started in insurance, I just bought a bunch of aged mortgage protection mailers that were like 50 cents each. And I just started calling on them and like practicing my script, and I got some appointments. And my very first day in the field, I wrote like 2,000 or 3,000, and I was just like, dang, like that was my first day. I'm gonna get rich. Like I was like, go get a bottle of wine real quick.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
that was a good day.
How long did you do that for? Buying 50-cent leads, age leads. How long did that go on for?
I don't know. I don't really remember, like maybe a month or a couple weeks. And then I started getting some other like A leads and B leads, like at the last company. So
And would you say in the beginning you stuck to a schedule and you were working, like you were intentional with your schedule when you first started?
oh yeah. I mean, when I first, I don't know what it was. I think like when I saw this opportunity, I just, I needed to, I was in a position basically where I needed to make it work because I was nannying for a friend who was like going through a really nasty divorce, and she had asked me to come nanny for her. And this was like the summer after I got my insurance license. I hadn't started insurance yet. So I got my license in like May. And then over the summer I was with her. And then we got a house with a $2,600 rent together, both of our names on the lease, but she was having some mental issues. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave now. And so I got back to the house, and then she was like, well, I'm not paying for the house anymore. Like, you left me. And I'm like, okay, well, now I have this big house that I have to pay for, like a 5-bedroom house, and I didn't have a job or anything, but I had an insurance license. So I just started working, I just started showing up every day and working. Like, I wouldn't say I was doing it. I don't know why I keep like disappearing. It's really weird. But yeah, I just was consistent, I was just working.
So that's about all it takes. I love it. A lot of people, they come here and they get on the 50-cent leads, but then they stop, and they never get to that next level. They never get out of the 50-cent leads and get up to spending what you need to really spend to do this at a very high level.
Yeah, I mean, like you hear all the time, you have to treat it like a business. When you're an entrepreneur, that means you take risks and you make investments into your business at the opportune moment. So, I mean, you have to be able to recognize, those moments where it's time for you to take it to the next step. And a lot of times people will be afraid, and they'll say, oh, like I want to stay back here in my comfort zone because I don't want to spend that money. I need that money for groceries, or I need that money for bills, and they won't spend the money when it's actually there. It just feels like it's too tight to spend it. And, those are the moments where you just have to like bank on yourself and just, I'm messing up my.
Trey, what questions do you have? You introduced me to John a few weeks ago. I wouldn't know her if you wouldn't have put us on a text thread.
Well, I think you covered it all. I mean, I'm Johnna's biggest fan. I've
You
always
really are.
admired what
I
she's
love
been
you,
able
Trey.
to do. I mean, you're great, and your dad. And partly because when I met you in Colorado, I mean, I could see it on your face that it wasn't working and you wanted it to work. And honestly, most people would have like you went through stuff that most everybody else would have just. It's pretty inspiring. It makes me not want to quit. Actually, like I know it's a little extreme, but a lot of times I just ask myself, what would Johnna do? And I keep going. So
WWJD.
that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Aw.
But yeah, great job. Really proud of you. And thanks for, serving our team and pouring into us. I really appreciate this.
Yes, it's my pleasure. I wanted to look at the chat. I know people always ask questions in the chat, so let me take a moment for those. Okay, Faustino, I'm confused. How do you spend that much extra if you're barely making it from check to check? Okay, so basically you invest the 2,000 to 25. You just get to a point, you just find a way to freaking spend 2,000 to get enough leads. Okay, you just put on a credit card, find a way, but do what you can, but like push it, push it and find a way. And start writing 10K a week, start putting a little bit of money. Like I think when I invested in all that stuff, like a second dialer and more leads and all that, I think I had like 12K in the bank, and all that stuff cost me like 8K, so I spent most of my money investing in my business, which was scary. But you just have, like I said, you have to take those opportune moments to invest and take it to the to the next step.
Johnna, what before you answer any more questions, how much were you issuing before you even thought about getting a dialer?
10K a week.
10K a week. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
I would say that's really where you should be at before you get a dialer, because dialers are constant, you have to train them. You have to be an expert at dialing yourself to actually effectively train them, number one. Number two, you have to get them, almost twice as many leads as you would get for yourself, because they're going to burn your leads. And
That's right.
Yeah.
That's huge. I don't, you're the first person I've heard say that. And it's true. Like we know it, but nobody says it because I don't think they really pay that much attention. But you absolutely, because they're not the dialer's leads, they didn't spend the money for them. They don't really handle objections. They just move on to the next because they know if they just keep calling, somebody's going to set an appointment. So I appreciate you bringing that up because that's really, really important.
Yeah, I've had one of my agents put himself out of business getting a dialer before it was time. So
I can see that.
don't do that.
Definitely.
Any other questions before I introduce our lead guy here?
Zach asked a question about how was your experience with chargebacks when starting off?
It's hard. I mean, chargebacks are tough when you're like commission to commission, that's why it's so important to scale, because you're going to be like battling chargebacks until you like actually, make a decision to go all in on your business, because you're going to be making only a couple sales a week, and then you're, going to have them charge back, and then you're going to be behind and have to spend money on leads. So I feel you. It's really tough. Like that's why you have to do what most people don't, right? You have to take risks, and you have to just blow it up as fast as possible. And now when I get chargebacks, I don't even see them as chargebacks anymore. I see it as like an advance. I'm like, okay, well, America just advanced me $2,000. Time to go work that off. All
right. Well, I know we were going to bring Nick on, but we are short of time. But we are going to put a link on our lead page to be able to order mortgage protection leads. Obviously we do a lot of IULs, and John would love to be able to help you out with that and do some trade. But for people that are interested in mortgage protection, we're definitely interested in getting that part of the business up as well. And so we'll put some information out. We'll have it up this week. I'm supposed to get with Nick so we can have a link up this week so we can be able to get mortgage protection leads. But as you guys heard, it's not necessarily, I don't think it's the lead type at all. It's more of the way she's working and not afraid to spend money. That's what I took out of the call more than anything else. So Frank, would you agree?
that and the pure amount, I mean, she said not, or 8 in the morning till 8, 9 o'clock at night, 6 days a week. That, I mean, you have leads and you put in that amount of work, you can't fail. So it doesn't matter if she's dialing the phone book. Would she have written 900 grand if she was dialing the phone book? Probably not, but she would have probably issued 4.
I bet. So,
So
all right, guys. Well, I appreciate it. Everyone may have a great night.